Hi, this is just a quick intro to the paper itself. So you've already watched a presentation on the logical fallacies, or you've read, I guess, a handout on logical fallacies. You've watched the presentation about ethos, logos, and pathos. And now it's time to kind of put all of those things together. And so what I want you to do for this assignment is to start with a topic that really irks you, something that you maybe want to defend, if it's an opinion, a change that you'd like to see implemented locally, maybe I don't know, as part of a community college experience, maybe as something that's really happening in your town that makes you angry. Could be a state level change or a national, something national that you want to have changed. So you want to look for a topic that you are in some way passionate about. That second bullet talks about what you need to keep in mind as you're choosing your topic. So number one, you need to know something about the subject. I don't want this to be something where you have to go out and do a ton of research because you don't want to have to cite things. So what you want is a topic that is very real to you, something that you know very much about. And so again, if you pick things on a local level, those are probably things that will be your best bet because you won't have to go and do a ton of research. So pick something that you know very well so that you don't have to go online and research, because if you do have to go online and research, then you run into the issue of having to cite things. Number two, you want to limit the topic to one that you can treat thoroughly in the space of a short paper. Again, the paper should be between, I'd say, 3.5 and 4 pages. You don't want to have a topic that's massive and that you need, a whole entire book to persuade us of that topic one way or the other. And then number three, it's always good to be passionate about your subject. You do have to be careful because you don't want to feel too strongly about a topic and come across as, again, that rant, because that's not what we're looking for. When you're thinking about your topic, you want to be careful of your audience. We want to know who they are, what kind of values and beliefs that they already hold about your topic, because you want to speak to those directly. We also want to know their attitudes. So what is it that they already think about a topic? What are their attitudes? When we talk about values and beliefs, that's maybe a little bit different in terms of what do they value. So if you're looking at, a particular topic, what are their values of the audience that you're going to be speaking to or writing for? And then the fourth one is that you always want to understand what they already know about the subject or the topic. Do they have any background knowledge? Are you going to have to provide that? If it's something specific to your town or to your school or to your area, you may have to provide that for those people who may not be familiar with what's going on in your city or town or your school. Again, you want to always remember that your audience will determine your content, your style, and your organization. And for this essay, I am going to have you pick a specific audience. So, will you be addressing a school board, a town council, the administrators at NICC, state legislators? Who is it that your audience is meant to be? Maybe it's a group of high school students or, just a group of community members that you want to voice your opinion. Maybe you're going to try to persuade your spouse or your children to do something that they haven't been doing, or to think about some things that they haven't, maybe don't agree with you on. So choose your audience. You're going to state that not within your paper, but that'll be something that you'll use as an attachment, who my audience is, kind of to do an analysis of your audience. And you'll see that in one of the assignments. Then you'll also be drafting a tentative thesis. You want to make sure that it's a conclusion that's based on evidence. So you want to have some support for what it is that you're going to be trying to persuade us of, and we don't want to be too broad. The first example there, cloning research is promising, is way too broad. Not something that can be done probably within the space of a 3.5 to 4 page paper. The second one is better. Scientists have been experimenting with cloning procedures for many years, but also it's bad because it's a fact. It's not the greatest, and it's not persuasive. We don't know what your opinion is. And then the third option is the best. Those who oppose cloning research should consider the potentially valuable applications of the research for human health and development. It names an audience, those who oppose, and also tells us why it's good. So it gives us the opinion of the author. We want to be careful not to ignore the opposition. I talked about that when I talked about a counter argument. You must have a counter argument found within your paper. And what we do with the counter argument, again, is we address what the other side thinks about our topic. So again, if you were addressing your kids because they haven't done chores and you're trying to persuade them to do the chores, Maybe your kids would come to you and say, oh, but we don't have enough time. We don't get paid. Those might be some counter arguments that you would address, and you would maybe address the paid one in your paper perhaps and say, well, I don't need to pay you because I provide clothes or food or whatever the case might be. So we take what the other side would argue against us as one of their arguments, and we refute it. We talk about why it's wrong, why it's a bad argument. One-sided arguments are almost never convincing, and so that's why we include a counter argument. And so you must show in your paper that you've considered the opposing viewpoint, so what someone else would say in response to your paper. You'll see more information in the handout, also a place for you to complete an outline. So I encourage you to really work at organizing your paper as to how you can best kind of create your argument so that it's the most persuasive. We also want to remember to include ethos, pathos, and logos and avoid those logical fallacies. So I look forward to reading your work.